which falls count anywhere.
Let me talk to you. Yeah. Talk about your songs. Talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. You? Test.
You there, sitting at home. Acknowledge me. But guess who shows up for no reason at all to get his grandstanding and hot dogging in?
Everybody knows that Hulkamania is the strongest force in this universe.
Like you, I don't waste all these people's time bitching and moaning and bitching and bitching and bitching.
But I'll say one thing, I am, for one very, very good reason, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
In which falls count anywhere.
I love that intro. Falls count anywhere here. Part of the Earnestly podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian. Reported this on Tuesday evening, August 11th, 2026, as school has returned on my neck of the woods. So life is normal again here. Of course, joined here every week by 1/3 of Mindless podcast. Also the host of the Rob the Genius podcast. My man, of course, Rob the Genius. Rob, what's going on, brother?
Good to be back, as always.
I don't think wait for the applause to come in there. You know me too well. We got a guest, guys, and I guess another 1/3 of the podcast, but also regular of this podcast as well. He's also the host of the 30 Mindless Minutes show, of course, on the Chair Show Radio Network. It's my boy DJ Minter. DJ, what's going on, man?
Ernest, Rob, good to see you guys. Glad to be back with you. Thanks for inviting me on this episode.
Yeah, we have a lot of talk on the show, man, and that's why I say, you know what, want to jump on this thing? Because we let's just say Eric Bischoff and Carmen Thompson had some very controversial comments this week that we got to react to, and we'll get to that in a second. Of course, we'll wrap up our SummerSlam anniversary series where we'll discuss SummerSlam 2021 5th anniversary. Before we get to all that, because I didn't plan on adding stuff that was really current for the time being, but then I watched Raw last time. Like, you know what? I want to bring this topic real quick. Two topics. Number one, first topic here. Solo Sikoa. I'm really digging this babyface run, man. I don't know how you guys feel about this solo babyface thing, but I'm really enjoying this thing.
Oh, me too, man. It's been a lot of fun, and I mean, last night was just hilarious.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I can't show the promo, but I can play the promo from last time to him and Jay real quick. 1 minute.
It's just me, O's. Day one, it's just me, O's. Day one, it's just me, O's.
That's Solo in the crowd.
Day one is Am I in the right place? Norfolk, Virginia! Your boy Solo Dolo is now in your city. You out here mocking and think it's a game, but look though, we gonna handle it. We gonna handle this the only way our family know how to handle Solo. Me versus you tonight. Hey, he's quiet now. But look though, when I win, you fall in line. You coming back to the bloodline. I'm delivering your ass first class to the tribal chief. This your warning shot, but
Then he imitates him like a shot.
Is everybody all right back there? Did anybody get shot? All right, we're good. Okay, calm down. I accept.
And the part I missed at the end of this promo is that he ended his promo saying, "This is your warning shot. Pew pew." DJ Rob, I pop so bad, bro. If you had told me even 2 years ago, during the peak of the Roman, obviously he was Roman's bodyguard, when I call that point, You know, you told me that Solo Sikoa would be like some comedian straight out of Eddie Murphy Delirious, I would have called you a liar. But we're here. I'm in for this thing, bro, and the crowd's loving it.
Yeah, man, talk about understanding the assignment. Solo Sikoa has undergone about 4 total gimmick changes since he was in NXT. He had the what would he call him, the street champion at one point, where he just was pretty much a street prize fighter. Then he got up and he carried that over into the main roster. Then when the bloodline implosion happened and Roman kind of went more babyface after he lost to Cody, Solo took over the bloodline. Now we have the capo, as it would be, or Solo trying to pretend to be the Godfather, took that over and worked wonders with it. Now he's gone into this comedic role. Just been incredible transition. I think he's hilarious. I'm scratching my head at the decision last night to deliver him to the bloodline. I'm letting it breathe. I think it's going to go somewhere, but I'm scratching my head right now.
Chaos, because if what they're doing with him is the same thing they did with Fatu months ago, where he loses the match and he has to be part of what Roman does, his yes man, then is Roman building some like building blocks here? And I'm thinking about maybe like these are the guys you throw Oba Femi before WrestleMania next year. I don't know. I'm thinking the next 8-9 months. Rob, what are you going on this thing?
Well, I think the only way this works is he's got to keep this act going from the inside and sabotage stuff and make fun of everybody. That's the only way this works. There's no way he just goes in there and kind of says, "Okay, sir, I guess I'll do what you tell me." Like there's no way that he does that. So he's going to be, roasting everybody from the inside and maybe, accidentally causing some of them to lose.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, right. And I think he's going to be doing stuff like that. And then at some point, Roman's going to, try to check him. And if they go all the way with this, it's going to be hilarious when he mocks Roman to Roman's face.
Oh my God!
If they take it there, I hope they do, because
they might, and they may.
Yeah, because that's going to be outstanding when he looks at Roman dead in the face and starts mocking him the way he was doing Jay last night.
Well, because something with WWE, when you saw it with Jey Uso, if they do something and it's working, Triple H will ride that train to the end, and I think he'll do that with Solo Sikoa because it's clearly working.
Yeah, absolutely. And not for nothing, too. The bloodline right now, the Roman factions, I say, they're still technically baby faces or faces. So there's space for Solo to do these kind of things still. Like, I know Jay is showing us a little bit like edge again and like a little bit like heel kind of thing. I know Fatu kind of sort of same thing. But Roman is still technically a face. So there's room to breathe for that to happen. Creatively, anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but something to look at in the next coming months. I think it's gonna be something we're gonna be looking at in the next couple months as we get into Survivor Series era and into the Royal Rumble and certainly the Mania next year. Last night also I'm watching I don't, as you guys know, I don't watch the entire show. I don't have time. I don't have the brain space to watch Raw and SmackDown every week. But I watch the highlights. But I'm watching the Oba Femi Braun Breaker, get down, Braun, is in the ring, and then Oba comes down, and they're about to touch each other. Rob and I spoke about this on the podcast about a month or so ago, about like Braun Breaker is I think he's a main event guy. I think he's in that conversation. There's just something missing. There's something missing. But then last night I'm watching him, and I'm like watching, go toe-to-toe Oba Femi, and granted, they're not fighting anything like that, but you're just watching a face-off. He looked the part. I'm bought in now that Braun Breaker now can work as a main event guy. I guess my question to you guys here is this, because this is going to be the feud going forward for next how long? Next month, whatever it may be. Who benefits the most from this feud right now?
You want to go first, DJ?
Yeah, I'll go first because I've got some thoughts. I think Braun Breaker benefits the most because he's the one that needs it the most. They pulled him off, like you said. It feels like he's been needing something. Their Instagram post of that clip, 5 million views overnight.
Really?
3 million more than the next best clip from Monday night. Yeah, that's Oba Femi without Brock Lesnar, without any other quote unquote big name stars. Braun Breaker is now getting the rub from Oba Femi. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Right now. But I have some thoughts on Breaker, and I shared this with Rob and some other friends in a group chat. We have this expectation that Braun Breaker is going to be the guy, or should be the guy, because he's a Steiner. When you think back historically, even when Papa Pump peaked, he was never the guy. He was the guy adjacent. He was definitely a main event star, but he was never the face of the company. Why do we have this unrealistic expectation that Braun Breaker should be the face of the company when if his peak is where Scott Steiner landed, dude, that's an excellent place to be. That's an excellent career. And clearly 1A and 1B face of the company are Trick Williams and Oba Femi. If Braun Breaker is the next step down from that, that's a great role.
And I can tell you why that's a problem for people who don't. Cause a lot of people don't understand what a main event guy means. People misconstrue main event guy from top guy.
Yes.
Main event guys is not just one person. Main event guys is a group of people or who are in the conversation. Triple H was never a top guy, but he wasn't a main event guy. Brock Lesnar, same thing, was never the tippy top guy because he was under the Cena era and under the Roman era. And maybe they tried it in 2003 when he won the title, but it was never defined because he really didn't want it. Okay, but he was a main event guy. Taker, same thing. Not the tippy top guy, but a main event guy. A top guy is Hogan. It's Cena. It's Austin. It's Rock. It's now Roman now. Big difference. So main event guy is the core guys you go to. Braun is that. Is he a tippy top guy? Probably not. But guess what? He don't have to be. It's okay.
That's perfectly okay.
Yeah. Rob, your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of that. I think because I'll give you another example. Edge.
Yeah, another one, main event guy.
So let me read off some what Edge was never the top guy, but here are some things that Edge did during his career. He won 2 Royal Rumbles.
Mm-hmm.
He main evented 2 WrestleManias. He won Money in the Bank twice, cashed in successfully twice, and he won 10 world titles. And main evented God knows however many like B pay-per-views along the way. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he was in the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time, the TLC match. A match that gets replayed over and over and over again. And he did one of the spots that gets replayed over and over again in that match.
Mm-hmm.
Edge was never the number 1 guy. Okay. So if Braun Breaker ends up being Edge or Batista or
phenomenal career.
Yes. Or maybe look, I mean, or maybe the biggest number 2 guy of all time, was Randy Savage. Right?
There you go.
I mean,
never a top guy. Although he was, he was for a year, but again, under the crutch of Hogan, though. Hogan was still around.
Yeah, the shadow was still there.
Yeah, or if he ends up being, I think I said before, he's not Sting, he's Lex Luger. Okay, Lex Luger won multiple world titles. Lex Luger main evented Starrcade multiple times. Lex Luger main evented WWE pay-per-views.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, 90% of the guys who worked in the wrestling business would gladly have Lex Luger's career.
Randy Orton, same thing.
Or
top
Randy
guy.
Orton. Also 2 Royal Rumbles and 3 WrestleMania main events and 14 World Championships. Randy's never the top guy. Okay. Even Sheamus won like 4 or 5 world titles or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are plenty of guys who were not the top guy who had wonderful careers. Now, we're not saying that he's not like, we're not relegating him to being like, I don't know, we're not saying that he's going to be Hercules, right?
No.
I mean, we're not saying that. We're not relegating him.
And be nice to Hercules, buddy. Be nice to Hercules, man.
Well, I had to think of somebody who didn't win any titles. Okay, but
I got to think of a guy who's deceased, so nobody gets their feelings hurt.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right. Although, look, I'm sure there's some Hercules fan out there who's going to hear this and they're going to come after me.
I won't come after you, but I'm a little with my feelings.
That ain't Rob.
But I know too soon, right? I mean,
That's all right. The thing is, Rob, is and GJ, is that I look at wrestling, especially now I'm older and I'm able to watch and I have now nearly 40 years of watching so many years, so many patterns and trends through the years. I've come to realize that you have to look at wrestling like a tier system. Like when look at a roster, there's your tippy top guy, there's your next part of the pyramid, the main event guys. Then you have your mid-level, mid-tier, mid-carders, and then the guys are just there to fill time. Braun Brekker right now, I'm watching him last night. I'm like, okay, fine. He's not a main event. He's not a tippy-top guy. But neither was Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar is sure as hell is amazing. And we'll talk about him later on the podcast. It was about visibility for me. Because I told Rob that one of the things I'm noticing with Braun is that he's a big dude, but not big, if you know what I mean. Braun, Brock Lesnar is big. Taker, big. It's more of a size thing more than anything else. Not to be a sizist, so you want to call that. No, that's a real word, of course. But, Braun Brekker is a big dude, but not intimidating big in the same way when we grew up watching the Hogans and the Andres and all those guys. But last night I watched against Oba, who's, by the way, a top guy. That's why he's being used as. And he measured up well. This visually, it's all about selling believability. And I watched him last night. I watched the body language. I watched the size, the face-off. I was sold. So Braun Brekker won in my eyes last night.
Okay.
So just saying. So there's that. All right. Here's why we're here today for the show. I'm gonna play a clip. Eric Bischoff and Karen Thompson host the 83 Weeks podcast. And they got into discussion about Rob's and Jason. Shout out to Jason, of course. You're the third man on the Mindless Wrestling podcast. And basically, they had some comments about Roman Reigns. And let's play the clip. Let's play the clip here, and then we'll go and unpack it.
But it didn't do much for me. Maybe because I'm just kind of over it. It doesn't feel compelling in any way. It doesn't grab my interest for any specific reason. I don't feel like if I fail to engage in that story that I'll miss anything, because I've kind of seen a lot of it, variations of it. So unless there's an element that can come out of this matchup shortly that makes it really more interesting, for whatever reason, that's the challenge. Come up with a reason to make it feel unique and compelling. But unless they come up with that,
I think Roman Reigns is probably the most overrated main eventer in WWE history. I know this isn't a wrestling term, it's a music term, but Roman Reigns is what music would call an industry plant. I don't think if Roman Reigns disappears tomorrow, WWE's fortune changes at all. I think, they pushed him so hard against the grain, down our throats is the phrase that Triple H would use about why they're not pushing Braun Brekker. Well, they pushed Roman down our throats forever. We had a good storyline with the bloodline, but now that the bloodline is it feels like it's into its black and silver era of the NWO. It's kind of like, we've been conditioned to believe he's the top guy, but there's no real reason. I don't know that anybody could say, here's my favorite Roman match, or here's my favorite. When people talk about their favorite match ever, how many people list a Roman Reigns match? How many people list their favorite promo ever as a Roman Reigns match? And it's not like he's doing the world PR tour and doing all the heavy lifting like they have a Cody Rhodes, or before that, a John Cena doing. He just flies in, takes 12 minutes to get to the ring, wrestles kind of the same match, does it really, really slow, gets his hand raised, and he moves on. He's Goldberg if Goldberg worked more than 10 minutes.
That last part really got to me.
Of course, he mentions Cody Rhodes first in his little diatribe. Go ahead. I'm sorry, EJ.
Here's what I'll say about that. He has a case if you're cutting it off at 2020. Because, yes, they were putting him down our throat. Yes, that is a fact. But he has corrected and course corrected that in the last 6 years. So I see the points he's using to make that argument. and I don't disagree with the point he's using, but that only applies pre-2020. There is data out there now, and Rob, you're a data guy, you know this, that suggests that Roman Reigns changed that storyline, the bloodline, changed the business in 2020 and beyond. What do we always say on our shows? We're all on the same age. We watched all the greats through the years, Hogan, you name it. Those are what separates the Hogans and the Austins and the Rocks and everybody else. It's not just who you like, it's who's changing the economy of said business and who's the main guy to do so. Roman 2020 and beyond was that guy. And here's the best part too, that he doesn't get enough credit for it. He did it as a heel. That's the sick part. Typically, a babyface is the one that does that. Like Hollywood Hogan was the only one that did it in the same way in WCW when he turned heel. But also, it only worked as a heel because of the babyface counteraction before. Roman did this as a heel on top of that. And they made billions of dollars in the last 6 years alone. So that alone makes Conrad's argument invalid. Again, if you cut off in 2020, I actually 100% agree with him. Beyond that, when Roman's gone, the product is not as good. And I know for a fact. And I know what I'm watching. So that's my stance on that. DJ, want to go?
Yeah, absolutely, because there's a few things I want to unpack here, and then some things that he brought up in his argument with people on Twitter that weren't even part of that audio clip. Right. One, for starters, and I'm sure Rob will get to some of this as well, the narrative that Roman was never over pre-2020 is bullshit. There was a finite point in time where Roman was on the ascent. That's the only reason Vince started pushing him to begin with. I don't know if people understand this about Vince McMahon, but the dude liked money. He liked to make money. And if you weren't making him money, he wasn't going to push you. It all fell apart for Roman right after the Colt Cabana podcast with CM Punk. There is a demarcation line from when Roman was on the ascent to when all of a sudden the vocal minority in the IWC were the loudest voices in the room.
I have to ask you.
Sure.
I keep hearing about that podcast. I think I remember the detail in that podcast. What exactly was said in that podcast that changed everything?
He basically implied that they said that Roman was going to be the next thing that Vince pushed. But I don't know the exact verbiage that he used, but that's where when you see people online and they say, oh, we got to make Roman look strong, that's where that came from. Okay. That's where that came from. So that was where it all started to go downhill for Roman Reigns. When I listened to what he's talking about here, because there were a couple key things. One, I have to agree with, and I've talked about this on the Mindless Wrestling podcast. Mm-hmm. I don't want another 1,300 days of what we got coming out of COVID. It was awesome. I don't want, as the kids are saying these days, I don't want reheated nachos. I want them to do something fresh with it. I suggested that the entire bloodline turns on Roman and have Roman go on his own. There needs to be some kind of shakeup. I do agree with that part of what he did have to say. What he had to say about Roman being the top guy is horse shit. And I'm going to, or not being the top guy is horse shit. And I'm going to point to some things he said on Twitter, because he talked about Hogan and he talked about Austin and he talked about Rock and he talked about historically all these other top guys. Mm-hmm, and he basically said that Roman doesn't do any of this without Paul Heyman. Okay. Hulk Hogan became huge. What was part of the key element that helped Hulk Hogan in his early stage? What helped launch Hulkamania? Fucking Bobby Heenan.
I was going to say that. Okay? Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan's hatred for Hulk Hogan and all things Hulkamania was the counter programming to Hulk Hogan. You need that counter programming. Every single top guy who has ever come through this industry has had a something or a someone that has helped them along. Austin had Bret Hart and Vince McMahon. Without either one of those two guys, we might have gotten Austin 316. It would not be the legend that it is today. Because when everybody talks about Austin 316, the first two things they go to is the match with Bret at WrestleMania 13 and the entire feud with Vince McMahon.
Right.
Dusty Rhodes' entire identity was built around the fact that the Four Horsemen tried to kill him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So, what are we doing here? There's no Rock without Austin. So just because, Hogan didn't have a manager, Rocky didn't have a manager. Austin never read. Doesn't matter if there was a manager. There was a person or a collection of people who helped elevate them to the next level. It's the same way with Roman. Yes, was Heyman a part of that? Did Heyman being a part of that elevate it? Absolutely, but I firmly believe that he wasn't 100% necessary, because at the end of the day, other than some introductions, what exactly did Paul Heyman do? What did he do other than be there?
If anything, he was more if anything, Paul Heyman's character actually lessened, because Paul Heyman, as we knew with obviously Brock Lesnar and with CM Punk to a lesser degree, was very loud and boisterous. Paul Heyman with Roman Reigns was very submissive.
Yes, very much.
Yes,
so.
my tribal chief. Yes, my tribal chief. And staring at him. Yeah, he's like a god.
So exactly, what did Paul Heyman do that Roman didn't? Because you cannot tell me what he did. I probably got some more thoughts. I'm going to gather them. Go ahead and let Rob go, or you go, or somebody.
Okay, so on the Paul Heyman thing, look, we talk about Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan managed like a dozen people when he was in WWE. Okay, but they didn't all succeed at the same level. I mentioned Hercules a few minutes ago. I mean, Hercules was with Bobby Heenan, and
to pick on Hercules,
Hercules, I mean, Hercules didn't win nothing. Hercules, okay. Bobby Heenan managed Rick Rude, who won some things. He managed Andre the Giant. He managed Big John Studd. He managed some guys who won some things, and in the AWA, he famously managed Nick Bockwinkel, who was world champion for a while, right? But he had some guys that did great. He had some guys who didn't, and JJ Dillon managed a bunch of people in the NWA, but there was only one Tully Blanchard. Okay.
Yeah.
None of his other people succeeded like Tully Blanchard did. And that's because he was Tully Blanchard. Okay.
Yeah.
And look, Paul Heyman at one time managed Curtis Axel. Yeah. Okay. He managed Ryback at one point.
He did?
Yes.
I know that.
The fact that you don't know that, it says everything.
Yeah.
There's a list of people that Paul Heyman managed who never fucking went anywhere.
And he managed Cesaro for a little while, and that was the worst part of Cesaro's career there.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Cesaro did more before and after he was with Paul Heyman than when he was with you. Okay. That was the lowest part of his career there, was when he was with Paul Heyman. Okay. So no, they couldn't just put anybody with Paul Heyman. Please.
Right.
I don't know who it is,
Mm-hmm.
You go through any great manager in wrestling history, right? They have certain guys who were extraordinary with them, and then they also had other guys who were not. Okay. And I mean, so to say that it was, they could have put anybody with Paul Heyman. No, they couldn't have. Okay. No, they couldn't. And you call them an industry plant. Okay, here's the thing. In pro wrestling, everybody's an industry plant.
Yeah.
Because the booker decides if you even get to be on TV.
Literally, it's TV.
The booker decides if you get to do anything. Okay, so everybody's a plant. Okay, like there's no parallel to the music business, because we're all music fans here. Like, there are people who literally start playing on a street corner and get discovered, and then make a career for themselves. But they were playing out on a street corner at first, okay, and people saw them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, industry plant is somebody that the record company puts together and strong arms the radio DJs into playing them on the radio, and manipulates their way onto the charts and all that type of stuff. Okay, in wrestling, that's everybody. Somebody decides if you get to wrestle, even be on the show. Somebody else decide, like you don't get to, nobody puts a ring up outside the arena and has a match, and then people see them having a match outside, and then they demand the promoter put them on the show. That happens in music, okay? It doesn't happen in wrestling. Okay. So everybody's a plant. Okay. Because the booker decides if you get to do anything. Okay. They do. And nobody gets over organically. That's bullshit. Okay, because the booker decides what you get to do. Okay, the booker can tell you to put on a chicken costume and go out there and walk around ringside.
Or you can ask Red Rooster.
Yeah. Okay. So
Terry Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, so everybody, no matter how talented you are, and no matter how much they may like you in some other place that you wrestled, when you come to whatever company you're going to now, somebody else decides what you get to do. So everybody's plant. Okay, and I mean it's ridiculous. And also, I mean, that you can call Roman overrated. How? Because now you mentioned before 2020. There's no he was not overrated before 2020 because damn near like the whole wrestling media was bashing him every day. Like, you're not overrated if they're killing you every day. You're not overrated because they think you suck.
I think also too, real quick with the overrated thing. I think people also misconstrue what the word overrated means.
Yes, because most people, overrated means this person is succeeding and I don't like them. That's what overrated means most of the time.
Overrated actually means, though, that whether they're good or bad, it's basically they're not as good as you think they are. Doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that they don't believe that they meet the hype of that. People think overrated means you suck. That's not the case. It just means that you're not as what you're made out to be, what people think you are. Like it's like saying the Beatles, for example. Like I like the Beatles. I think they're overrated. I don't think they're as good as people make them out to be. But are they good? Yeah, they're good. But are they overrated, in my opinion, musically? Yeah. In my opinion. Go ahead, DJ.
Here's my thoughts, the last couple thoughts on this. One, when Roman enters a town, ticket sales go up. Facts.
Boom.
When he's on TV, ratings go up. Facts. Wherever he's at, merchandise sales go up. Facts. Okay, that is people buying in. You can't be overrated if they're buying in. Now, you may not like his particular style of wrestling. To be perfectly honest with you, if I had to rank up in-ring ability, move for move, hold to hold, bell to bell, Roman doesn't rank. He's not my favorite wrestler. So, but that's not what we're judging here. What we're judging is whether or not the guy is the face of the company, the main event star that WWE thinks he is. And if you're looking at dollars and cents, the answer is yes. As far as what it took for him to get there, every single superstar who Conrad will name and tell you organically got over, did this, did that, started off the shits. Tell me how many people loved the Ringmaster. None of them. Tell me how many people loved Rocky Maivia. They fucking booed him out of the building every single night.
And they pushed his ass too also.
John Cena was literally 90 days away from hitting the road. Every single one of these guys had to find something that worked on TV. Why is Roman an island here? Why are we singling out, Roman had to go do this to get over? Duh, that's what you do. You find a hook, you find a thing. Everybody's found a thing. It's
right.
That's how you get over, finding a thing.
You know how I know this take is trash ultimately? Why it's a trash take? And Rob will love this. The data proves us right here. Because the reaction to the take. Because the fact that people are reacting the way they are tells me that the take is false. Because he was overrated, no one give a fuck. People give a fuck.
And this is a toxic trait of mine. I fall for this because I fully believe this was engagement farming. I don't think he truly believes that. I fucking fall for it every single time, and I feel like an idiot when I do. But there's a lot of idiots out there because a lot of us bought into it, and a lot of us went tit for tat and toe to toe with him on it. And we're doing that here as we're talking. But yeah, sometimes I'm disgusted with myself because I fall for that engagement shit so easily. I do. It gets my blood pressure up.
But as us as content curators too, also, it doesn't matter anymore because you know why? It's something to talk about.
It's content.
It's something to talk about
for us as well.
It's content.
He just created a lot of content for a lot of podcasters, and we're included in that.
And this is why I look at it too. Also, as three older guys who've been watching the business almost over 40 years, it's an opportunity for us to educate people who may not.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're doing that here. And we're showing you data. We're showing you things that proves the argument false. That's all. Go ahead, Rob. Last one.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're not arguing. Whenever I get in these kind of arguments now, I always tell myself, I'm not arguing with the person on the other side. I'm speaking to whoever might be reading what I'm saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's all you can do, right? You can't, because the person on the other side, you know what, they've got an agenda. They may not even believe what they're saying, but
most don't.
Yeah, but I just always figure, you know what? I'm talking to whoever might be reading this or listening to me. I'm talking to them, and I'm hoping that that they will listen to what I'm saying, and go find out for themselves, and see who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah,
but Conrad's wrong here. He's wrong as hell. And look, JBL corrected him.
What did JBL say?
Just like, basically, like, because look, he's like the top guy gets blamed when stuff goes bad. So when stuff is going good, he should get credit. And basically everybody's chosen. He said that, and a lot of stuff that we've said here. Basically, everybody's chosen by the booker.
We pretty much reiterated what JBL said.
Yeah, the top guy is chosen by the booker,
But things aren't bad right now, though. That's the thing I don't understand. Things aren't bad right now. I mean, maybe it's stale, but again, we're not in 1994, 1995 WWE right now.
No,
don't tell the internet that. They think we're fully back in 2019, which is horse shit. And 2019, I'll argue, was not nearly as bad as we were told it was.
I came back in 2019. I enjoyed it, and I liked the product. I got why people thought it was stale, because people will probably say it was stale because they had been watching for years to come. And yeah, maybe I could see the argument that maybe it was stale in comparison to the year before, but bad? It wasn't bad. There was some good things going on there. Come on, bro.
Fuck no.
Come on, stop. So, like I said, I think all respect to Bischoff and Conrad, give us something to talk about here, but I think they're mostly wrong on this one. So I'll leave it at that. Last week on the show, we wrapped up Brock Lesnar's career because I guess he's done, retired, all that good stuff. One thing I forgot to add to that conversation with Rob last week, and I'm glad you just here to talk about this with us too also, is that there's been rumors that maybe next year he may possibly get inducted to the Hall of Fame. He's obviously going to be in the Hall of Fame, whether that's next year or the year after that, whatever it may be. But I thought about this, like, who should be the one to induct him, though? And there's a couple of guys that came to my mind. I mean, we can throw that around, some guys around we want to right now, guys you think should have the honor of inducting them. You have a guy or two, DJ, want to throw it?
I think there's only one right answer here. However, I would listen to an argument for the other two. The one that I think is the one that'll do it will be Paul Heyman. But if you presented me an argument that it was either John Cena or Roman Reigns, I could see a direct line to either one of those two guys as well.
You know what's funny? I didn't even think about Heyman. I didn't even think about that. I probably should have thought about that. I don't know why. I always think about like people he feuded with, not the. And he is the right answer for the record, but I just didn't think about that because I'm always thinking about guys who he feuded with, or he tagged with, or was friends with.
Yeah.
So Roman was mine, and so was Cena. But Heyman is the right answer. I mean, Rob, what do you think?
Well, Heyman is like the first choice. But if not Heyman, Roman would be Roman would be high on the list. Cena would be high on the list. I'd probably say one of those two. If not Heyman, then
maybe Undertaker.
Oh yeah, Undertaker.
Yep, that's another one I had. That's one I had on my list too. Also, I'll throw you a wild card here real quick. On one wild card, it probably one of the lowest ones on the list, but probably somebody you would say, I can see the argument about Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
this for argument's sake. Let's say one day that I'm not to get like morbid here, but let's say all those guys we mentioned, Heyman, all are not available to do it because something happened. They all got lifted in a rapture. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And Kurt Angle's the only guy available to do this for him. I can sell that argument because I mean, again, he main event WrestleMania, his first WrestleMania with Kurt Angle.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the line of succession. Kurt Angle ends up in that conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, Vince McMahon ends up in that conversation.
I was going to say that too. Also, was that Vince is another one, but Vince, I don't know. It. Well, I mean, I know the case is behind him now at this point, but I don't know if Vince is ready to.
No, leave it alone. Don't touch that.
Leave it alone. So. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and I guess the only other one I could think of, and it wouldn't happen now because he's not with the company right now. It would be Shelton Benjamin.
Yes, he's one of his best friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Shelton is not affiliated with the company right now, so that probably would not happen.
What about? I know it's too early. But what about Oba Femi?
That would, I mean,
it'd be interesting though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that
it all comes down to, I think, look, Brock gets to pick. They're gonna let Brock pick whoever he wants, as long as it's not somebody who's like in jail or something. Right?
Yeah. The obvious answer. The obvious answer is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Because you have to do, especially with the introduction, ladies and gentlemen. I imagine you'll be doing that also at the ceremony as well, too. Also,
I also think that genuinely, more so than on TV, I think they actually have a personal relationship with each other outside of this.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I think they're genuinely, if not good friends, they are very close business partners.
Right.
So
yes,
and that's how I drew that conclusion with Paul Heyman.
Yeah, would you say? Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
Oh, because it's funny how like a lot of wrestling managers end up being like real life managers. Because Paul Ellering was that for Hawk and Animal, Cornette was that for the Midnight Express.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it ends up, a lot of cases, it ends up being the kayfabe manager ends up being like the real manager in a lot of different ways.
Yeah,
and that may be the case. I think Brock was on the Pat McAfee show. I think he was on a couple years ago.
Yeah,
he mentioned Paul Heyman, but not by name. He said, doing this, and he said, I got to feed the Jew, was what he was saying, and he meant.
Did he say that?
He actually did.
My
he said,
God!
I got to feed the Jew, and he was talking about Heyman. So
that's awesome. That is amazing.
Because I mean, Paul talks about himself that way. So
yeah. He's very self-deprecating, of course. No, would you say that Paul Heyman Lesnar team was the best Heyman 1-2 combo of all, between the Heyman Roman, Heyman Punk, Heyman Brock, Heyman Curtis Axel? Would you say Heyman Brock was the best of the bunch of Heyman's partnerships? I don't think it's close, to be honest with you.
I think Heyman added the most to Brock out of all the people he managed, I think.
Yeah, because Brock can't talk.
Right.
That was Brock's one drawback, is he just could not cut a promo to save his ass.
By the way, he told you that a month ago on one of his promos.
Yeah.
So I would say yes, because he added the most to Brock. So I would say yes.
I
agree with Rob for those reasons.
I don't need that. Paul Heyman's a talker. He was his best self with Brock, not with Roman. Number one, the Roman package was fantastic, but it was Paul being a character. Paul was himself with Brock. Paul's a talker.
I'd say in totality, he added more value to Brock than he added to Roman.
I agree.
Yes. He was important to the Roman storyline, but he wasn't as valuable as he was to Brock.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So, all right. Anyway, let's play a little game here. A new game I found on the internet months ago. It's called One Must Go. And we're going to do the 1986 edition. You guys don't know the wrestlers yet. You better find them in about 2 seconds. 1,
okay.
2. 1986. One Must Go. You have Hulk Hogan. You have Ric Flair. You have Randy Savage and Andre the Giant. Now, here's the kicker here. People always say, well, you take your best favorite wrestler who did the most. I want to do this more in a capsule of 1986. So look at the creative they were doing in 86. And I'll give you a little bit of background here. So in 86, Hogan was the world champion. He was feuding with King Kong Bundy. He started feuding with Orndorff later in the year and whatnot. Savage is the Intercontinental champion. Okay, obviously he starts feuding with Steamboat toward the end of the year, but he's feuding with Tito Santana. He's still feuding with Steel, all that stuff. Andre was still doing some stuff, but he went away for a couple months. Will come back in 87 to do the feud with Hogan. I don't remember what Flair was doing in 86. Rob, you know answer that question?
Oh, he was the NWA World Champion.
Right, but what was he feuding? Who was he feuding with at the time?
Oh, that was one of it. He was feuding with a lot of people, with Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA and Ronnie Garvin. Basically, it was like one versus all, and 86 was when the Four Horsemen started.
So the answer for me is pretty easy because I wasn't watching the NWA. I would say Flair, but that feels lazy because it's not fair to Flair to me to say that because I wasn't watching NWA at the time. So should I say Flair? I don't know, man. Andre, he was still doing stuff, but obviously on the way down. I'll go to you guys first. DJ, who do you think? Who would you let go based on the work they were doing in '86? Which one could you do without of the four guys on this list?
Unfortunately, when I'm looking at the business and certain launching points in history and certain things that mean something in this industry, unfortunately, Randy Savage has got to go.
Really?
Yes. Ric Flair was just integral to the success of the NWA and what would eventually become the WCW. Andre is absolutely tied to the success of Hulkamania, and we don't get here where we are right now without Hulkamania. The odd man out in this list for me is Randy Savage, because yes, he was going to have the Intercontinental Championship run that year was awesome. The match coming up with Steamboat at WrestleMania 3 was amazing, moment in time. But in 1986, when I'm looking at where the industry is going to go for the next 10 years, it's Randy Savage.
So you make it more of a big picture thing more than like the
Correct. Correct.
That's interesting. That's an interesting answer because that was an amazing 86 for Savage.
It was. And that's what this is a great list because it's very difficult. It's not easy. But when I look at the totality of the business, what came out of 86 forward, unfortunately, it's Savage.
And again, the thing. Okay, well, that's your answer. Okay, cool. Rob, your answer on this one.
Man, well, I was going to say Andre, but DJ got me to change my mind.
You're on my show.
Oh, I know. Yes,
my favorite wrestler. I'm wearing his T-shirt, buddy.
Okay, look, I know you're about to hit the button, and there's going to be like an explosion sound. And kick both out. I know that. But here's the thing. All right, look, I'm an NWA guy, so there's no way I'm getting rid of Flair.
I wouldn't either, to be honest with you.
And again, that was the year the Four Horsemen started.
Was it really 86? Okay.
Yeah, it was January 86, and they started by accident. There was Rick, Tully, and then Arn and Ole Anderson, and they were doing a TV taping. They were almost out of time, and they all had to get their promos in before the time ran out. So Dusty just said, since they were all heels, Dusty just said, well, y'all go out there together. And they went out there together. They did like the show closing promo together, and they took turns talking and all of that. And like, it just clicked. And like during that promo, Arn Anderson was like, well, look at here. This looks like the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse or something like that.
Yeah.
And it stuck. And so no,
you're gonna do it, aren't you?
Well, okay. My first answer was going to be Andre because out of the three of them, Andre did the least in 1986.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about like future consequences, then without Andre, there was no WrestleMania 3. There's no Hogan slamming Andre. That's maybe one of the first iconic images of this age of wrestling. So if you take away Andre, you don't have if we're including consequences of making someone disappear, then if Andre disappears, then there's no WrestleMania 3.
Right. And so I'm so glad I said it's so important, but it seems easy. It's not, because you're right. Because it doesn't work with Andre. Andre has to go away to add suspense. Because people forget the program back then too. Also, you don't have Raw and SmackDown on every week and stuff. He was gone for a good while. Remember, he does the Battle Royal in WrestleMania, right? I think he wins the Battle Royal in WrestleMania. Yeah. Okay.
He looked really bad.
Right. And then he goes away. He gets suspended, I guess. He does the whole like giant, the mass giant whatever. What was it called again? The
machines.
The machines. And then by the summer, he's gone. And he's actually gone for a while, right? And then you start hearing these rumors about reinstation and like November, December programming, being reinstated. And that Bobby Heenan showed up to the meeting. We don't know why he showed up to the meeting. Because, by the way, Andre and Bobby had beef prior to that.
Yeah.
So it added suspense. So we close 86, go into January of 87, and that's where the tapings start with Andre and Hogan doing the whole thing leading up to WrestleMania 3. So Andre would be the easy answer at first when you think about it, but you don't get what 87 was, which is the most, to me, one of the most important years in wrestling history, without deep seeds being planted in 86.
Yeah.
So by default, you might be right. Savage might be one to go.
Because here's the thing. Also, he's the only one where you could replicate what he did in that year.
Who, Savage?
Yeah, I mean,
yes, you can.
What he did. Look, you could have done that with Roddy Piper. You could have done it with Jake. There were people. I mean, it wouldn't have been the same thing. It would have been different. But I mean, Jake Roberts as like a heel Intercontinental Champion in 1986 would have been outstanding. Okay.
Oh, that would have been money.
Yeah. So I mean, there are other. So you could have replicated, or somebody like Paul Orndorff, even.
Yeah.
I mean, so you could have replicated what you got out of Randy Savage with somebody. They had people that they could have replicated that with.
Sidebar: absolutely criminal that Orndorff never held the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah. Because he was in the world title picture all the time. That's why.
Criminal.
He was feuding with Hogan all the time.
No, I know,
on top of the card. That's why. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. So mine's a two-part answer. Like, my answer is gonna be Flair because I wasn't watching anyway, but it's stupid. That's not fair to Flair because I'm not watching the product. If I'm going based on creative, I think Andre's creative was much more effective for the bigger picture. Because Savage's creative really. Here's what I'll say here's the reason why I probably somewhat agree with you guys on the Savage part. Once Savage got the title in February of 86 over Tito at the Boston Garden, there wasn't really anything creative he was doing really between then and until the Steamboat thing started in 86, in November 86, when Steamboat hurt his larynx. So and again, it falls in the same category of the Andre thing now, where you're really just setting up for 87. So what was more effective in 86? Andre going away was much more effective in 86.
Yeah.
You're not taking up Hogan. Hogan is the head of the company. You're not taking up Hogan. Hogan is the bells and whistles of that company. Flair is doing big things in NWA. Is there an argument that this could be Flair's best year of his career, 86? Is there an argument there?
It's possible because the Horseman stuff started. He had a whole gallery of challengers. There was Dusty, there was Ronnie Garvin.
Well, they were still trading talent across the territories at that point, so he really had a huge rogues gallery.
Yeah, and also, I'd say it was because you know why? He got over a feud. He feuded with Ricky Morton, who was half of his life. Imagine. That's unheard of. Having a feud with half of a tag team and people believing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Roman wrestled like Montez Ford, nobody would give Montez Ford a chance of winning. Right?
No, but we believe Ricky Morton might stand a chance.
Yes.
We believe it, man.
That Ricky Morton had a chance at beating Ric Flair for the world title. That's how well they sold that thing.
Right. Man. Absolutely. Yeah. And so I can't believe I'm going to say this as a Savage mark on this thing, but I'm going to agree with you because it's for the same reason why Savage Andre wins here, because his absence created more of a effect even in 86 itself than Savage. So creatively speaking, because of Andre getting suspended and the whole return and reinstatement, and that alone added some amazing creative for what you got next year, which changed the business around anyway. So by default, I will agree with you guys. I'm saying this. I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm gonna go with Savage. Damn you, DJ fucker!
Hey, you dug that hole yourself, buddy.
No. But the thing is, though, when you really look at it, mine's a two-part answer. If you ask me in a nutshell, based on me living in '86, I'm gonna say Flair because I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
See, the problem is with putting this. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good.
No, when we do something like this, you say in a capsule. The problem is you can't put that in a capsule because what they did in that capsule was directly linked to the next capsule.
Absolutely.
Which is wrestling. It's the story. It's the never-ending story of wrestling. But it's so I have to look at the next capsule, and the next capsule was 1987, and that was just huge for Hogan and Andre.
1987 is arguably the greatest year in wrestling history. Arguably, I think the only other year that comes close is 97.
Yeah.
That's it. Those 2 years, 10 years apart.
Yep.
So, all right, last topic for the show. We love doing anniversaries. It's the last anniversary of SummerSlam for the show. It is the 5-year anniversary of SummerSlam 2021. It was the first SummerSlam with crowds, also too. I think it's the second show with crowds actually through the pandemic. Of course, this took place on August 21st, 2021, in Paradise, Nevada, at Allegiant Stadium. The attendance was 51,326. No tagline here, of course. You see the is that right? Actually, I have the wrong
That's the wrong
that's the wrong one. And I saved it too. Let me take that down real quick, man. What am I doing here, bro? I'll find it in a second. We did, however, have let me see it. Where's the show at? This thing's all messed up, man. What are you guys doing, bro? There it is. There it goes. Okay, we got 11 matches. One pre-show match though, which is between Big E defeating Baron Corbin by pinfall. Let's go to this card here real quick. RK Bro, Randy Orton and Riddle defeats AJ Styles and Omos by pinfall for the Raw tag titles. Your thoughts on that, guys? RK Bro, I miss those guys, man.
Well, they were a really fun team, but one guy couldn't stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. I had a hell of a lot of fun with it. I wish Matt Riddle had kept his mouth shut and his nose clean.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Alexa Bliss defeated Eva Marie with Doudrop by pinfall. Eva Marie, wow, I bet she came back and then she went away like fart in church.
Now, look, if you want to talk about somebody who was bad,
yeah, beautiful but not good.
I mean, she might be the worst woman wrestler to ever get any significant time on television.
Mm-hmm. We have Damian Priest defeating Sheamus by pinfall for the U.S. title. That was Priest's his first push. I think he just got into the main roster like literally a month before this, or 2 months before this, or close to that.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that they put a U.S. championship on. Vince seemed to do that because he did it with Apollo Crews. He did it with Ricochet. He did it with – that seems to be like his main roster graduation title is the U.S. championship during the Vince McMahon era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good match, though. 13 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We have the Usos defeating the Mysterios of Rey and Dominic by pinfall for the SmackDown tag titles. Do you guys miss having the Raw tag down and SmackDown tag titles? I kind of do, actually.
Well, I mean, they still do have them technically, but back then
the labels all fucked up.
Honestly, look, I don't have a problem with being like the show champion because that's what you are. Okay.
Yeah, we got into this debate with Jason on our show one time because Rob and I are forever calling all of them the Raw, because I can never remember what the actual name of the championships are. So it's the Raw Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship, same thing with the tag titles and all that shit. I have no problem with that. I don't miss those ugly ass penny belts though.
Yeah, those are terrible.
Oh, those things are awful.
The penny belts. That's funny. We have Becky Lynch defeat Bianca Belair by pinfall for the SmackDown Women's title. Of course, that was Becky Lynch's return, which everybody shat on. Remember that?
Yeah.
Though in hindsight, it was the right move because it built something better in the end. They correct that by WrestleMania. So
they stuck the landing.
They did. They really did.
That was an important thing because in hindsight, that kind of, babyface Bianca just beating everybody would have gotten stale really fast.
Yeah.
And I mean, it pissed people off, but they stuck the landing and they paid it off well, and that's what matters, right? I mean, and look, sometimes there's good pissed off and there's bad pissed off, right? And for in the early going, like in the immediate aftermath, it was the bad kind of pissed off that people were. But after a while, it became, things started to unfold, and it was like, you know what? Okay, this is going to go somewhere, and as long as Bianca beats her in the end, then it's fine. And that's what they did. So it worked.
The only thing is that I hated it because like Bianca's much bigger than Becky. Like you're not gonna have me believing that you're gonna there's some rock bombs that's gonna take down Bianca. Like small ass Becky Lynch. Come on, bro. Again, believability, guys.
Yeah,
make me believe what you're doing is true.
Yeah, I mean, if in retrospective, that's the only part that doesn't look good now.
Right, but we did get a 5-star match out of that, though. Or close to 5-star match out of that at WrestleMania. So, all right. We got Drew McIntyre defeating Jinder Mahal. Veer and Shank both from ringside. I don't remember this match, to be honest here. Drew was still a babyface, right? I think still. Yeah. Your girl, Rob. Charlotte Flair.
Rob's favorite SummerSlam match of all time.
Yes, she defeats Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley by submission for the Raw Women's Championship. How much you smell that night, buddy?
Well, that was my main event. So. We watched that a little while ago. It was a fun match, and look, I was, and it was a fitting payoff for those of us who were fans of the 14-time women's champion.
Yeah,
absolutely. That had been stolen from her.
What was? It was.
Yeah.
To be fair, it really was. I mean, I get them with trying things with Nikki. You're trying things. I get it, but it didn't stick. So it is what it is. Edge defeated Seth Rollins by submission.
I think that was actually the best match of the night.
It was the best match of the night.
I'm trying to remember the match though. I know it was a good match. I just trying to remember it, to be honest with you. We have Bobby Lashley with MVP defeating Goldberg by referee stoppage for the WWE Championship.
That was a surprisingly good match. I mean,
it was a good match. Is that the one where Sundberg got involved at the end?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, and Bobby put the hurt lock on him. Yes.
Yeah, Bobby put the hurt lock on Sundberg.
Call me crazy. I love this Bobby run. Love
that. It was excellent.
And then to me, it was like almost like not a copycat, but it reminded me of Brock and Paul Heyman with Bobby and MVP.
Yeah.
Bobby not a great talker. MVP, he rolls.
Yeah.
So he can talk. And of course, the main event you see on the screen here, I finally fixed it. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman defeating John Cena by pinfall for the Universal Championship. So at this point, we're now almost a year into Roman's bloodline tribal chief run as champion. Good match. And I think this is also where where Brock Lesnar came back after.
Yeah.
At the end. So, what do you guys think about this card all together? Did you enjoy the SummerSlam?
I did. I thought it was fun. Had a couple of low matches in it, but overall, if 80% of the show was good, it was a good show.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those where like the highs were high and the lows were kind of like, oh brother, but
even Marie brother.
But but the good stuff was so good that it outweighed the bad stuff by a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, I agree. My only gripe for this show, and it was stupid gripe because it wasn't their fault. They just couldn't do it. There's no pyro in the show because they couldn't because of the heat.
Yeah.
Because when Brock came out to do his reveal after Cena lost to Roman, I'm a Lesnar mark. I love the intro. I love the whole the jog, the whole
package,
the whole package thing, and he does the and then fireworks. There's no fireworks. Like, what the fuck's going on? I found out later on the night that he couldn't use pyro because of the heat. So there you go. Same reason why Metallica didn't use pyro last year at the Tampa show for the same reason. So, well, that's what it is. So anyway, that's SummerSlam 2021. Anyway, guys, fun show, man. DJ, thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. You want to plug anything?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. You can listen to myself, Rob, and Jason on the Mindless Wrestling podcast every week. I also have a new episode of 30 Mindless Minutes. I took a week off last week, just had a lot of personal stuff.
So I was so sad. I was so sad. I was so depressed.
I know. I felt bad. You messaged me like, "Where's 30 Mindless Minutes?" I'm like, crap, I forgot to warn you.
I'm at a point now where I have all my podcasts to do in certain days, and I have my queue for my walks. I have obviously, look, Rob's show when it comes out. I don't even fuck around with that anymore. Rob's when I'm gonna pop up and see Rob's podcast. Oh shit, he got an episode. You're now on a weekly schedule where like Sundays are coming out now. So all my Sunday walks.
I'm back this week, EJ. I promise you.
Saturday mornings is Mindless Wrestling on my walks in the morning. So
I appreciate that.
So it was a little sad, but it's okay. It's okay. I get it. Life happens. I get it.
It does.
Rob, plug away, brother. How's the Rob
well,
Genius creation going?
Well, I'm on like take 9 now, so it'll be finished one day.
You know what? I should get a shame sound effect here. From Game of Thrones. Shame. Oh my God. It's okay, brother. No, we love you anyway, man. It's okay. And of course, you can find me on X at EJChristian7. Falls count anywhere, a part of the Earnestly podcast. Until the next episode, we talk to you guys soon, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Falls count anywhere.
Let me talk to you. Yeah. Talk about your songs. Talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says I just whipped your ass. You? Yes.
You there, sitting at home, acknowledge me. But guess who shows up for no reason at all to get his grandstanding and hot dogging in?
Everybody knows that Hulkamania is the strongest force in this universe.
Like you, I don't waste all these people's time bitching and moaning and bitching and bitching and bitching.
But I'll say one thing. I am, for one very, very good reason, the best there is, the best there